At York Hall, I love Fonz Alexander as a name. I used to think I was Arthur Fonzarelli myself when I was a young lad in America, so that's a good one. I would definitely use that as a moniker. Fonzie Alexander facing Tommy Petchell in what is shaping up right out the gate to be a nice, exciting exchange of punches. It looks like both of these guys are looking for their power shot, but working towards it honestly off the jab. A nice start. No feeling out process for these fellas, especially with a guy that has boom right there on his trunks. Hopefully, we're gonna see him live up to exactly that bedazzle.
Fonz Alexander is another tough one. I mean, he's hard to get out of there. And he'll make for an entertaining fight. I mean, he'll test the prospect and, make them earn their victory tonight. He's not just gonna move around and try and survive. He's gonna let you know he's there. This makes for an entertaining fight, so I think it's good.
Yeah. We've got 6 rounds, 3-minute rounds. And, sometimes you see in baseball in America or football in America where the jersey of a guy is dirty and it lets you know that he plays hard. Well, I don't know, there's a lot of bedazzle on the back of Fonz's trunks, but on the front it looks like this might be his 3rd fight of the night. Which to me is a good indication that this guy might just be a workhorse.
He's letting off big shots there.
There you go, looking for the boom. He's kind of leaping in with that hook, and there it is again, so Tommy's going to have to be very responsible with his guard, otherwise that big lead hook could do some damage.
Yeah.
You'd like to see Fonz planted when he lands those punches, not leaping. I think there'd be a lot more on the shot. However, leaping in is what's making it connect. So.
Oh, good shots from the inside there from Petchell. I mean, I like it when the away fighters test, the prospects.
Yeah, that's what they're here to do. And listen, they're not just here to test. They should still be here to win, as we saw from Manuel Perez in the last fight. If you don't pass the test, you lose.
That's it. If you're not good enough, you're not good enough.
That's it.
Some good shots going from both boxers here, though. Fonz is letting Petchell know he is here tonight. And Petchell has to figure out he has to figure out his opponent and start taking control very soon, because this first round here has been competitive.
Tommy Petchell's going to need some words of wisdom in the corner. I think this is one of those fights where the cornerman needs to step up and let him know what needs to be done. Maybe some adjustments that makes this fight a little bit more in grasp for Tommy Petchell.
I mean, Petchell's choosing to stand in this corner, so I'm guessing he's still comfortable in this first round.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that, because the standing between rounds, I do like it. It to me belies a warrior's mentality. However, if the fight starts to get long and you got to call for that stool, it really does give your opponent a lot of gas.
If you choose to stand up for the first round,
you got to stand up for every round. You did mention that Fonz Alexander is a difficult guy to get out of there. Well, I gotta tell you, he takes the cake tonight. I don't know if anyone's gonna best 173 losses with only 7 knockouts. Listen, I am also not being cheeky. That is impressive to me. That is a very, very tough guy to get out of there.
He's had a lot of long nights to get in the distance.
Yeah, he does.
73 times.
This guy doesn't even take a lunch break. He works every hour of the job.
That might have been the shorts.
I'm surprised that Fonz has not been more aggressive at the start of this second round. He really was doing well, and I wouldn't give Petchell a chance to settle into his fight and get comfortable. He should keep the pressure on, keep him uncomfortable, keep the pace high as long as he can. Because it's only 6 rounds, and if he can get 2 or 3 of them out of the way, just confusing Petchell, you might be on your way to the second upset of the night.
Yeah, well, maybe he's felt something in between there that Petchell has, heavier hands, it may seem, so he doesn't want to, rush into something.
You make a great point. It might not be down to Fonz there. Petchell might have had something to do with this change of strategy.
Body shot there from Fonz. Oh, good right hand over the top there from Petchell.
That's what you like to see. Each fighter with a nice crisp shot. And for Petchell's sake, I think he needs, in this round, to have a punctuating moment. Like after that first round, you don't, as you see, these judges, they will score for the winning fighter. So you don't want to just give rounds away or even leave them in question. Don't want the impression to linger too long that Tommy Boom, or I should say Fonz Boom, might be too much for you. Reestablish that you're the dominant side, you're the A side, you're the favorite here tonight, and you're the favorite for a reason. I'm always going to be moaning about knockouts because that's my favorite thing. But it is a credit to the matchups that you don't see a ton of knockouts early in these fights because, yes, you see opponents with long list of L's behind their name, but they're not coming to lay down.
Yeah.
And they're not necessarily here just to survive either, as you've seen from Miguel Perez earlier, win from the B side. So these are good matchups. These are solid fighters who are testing these young fighters who are early in their careers and making them earn victories, which is why you're not seeing a bunch of knockout after knockout after knockout, because these matchups actually are entertaining and good scraps.
Yeah, and they're not all one-sided.
That's right.
It's good to see that, both fighters like good shots and come back and they test the prospect and the prospect has to find a way to win, and if they don't, it's going to show they're not good enough, and then they've got to go back to the drawing board. I mean, nobody wants to lose at this level because you're only at the beginning, so to have a setback right at the beginning takes you further back to where you want to be, and you've got to wait another 6 months, maybe or longer to get back into that beginning stage.
And tonight, Fonz Alexander has a little bit more time to need to survive than Miguel had in the last fight. So that means that Tommy Pritchard can figure this thing out. He's got a little bit more field ahead of him to gain some rounds and to make sure that he walks out with a W. But I think with the experience that Boom has, the Fonz, it could be dangerous to let these rounds go early, because I suggest that Fonz might have a strategy late. If he's conserving energy, just doing enough to get out of these early rounds, and could pour it on late. I don't see a lot of unnecessary movement from Fonz.
Yeah, he moved, man. He's been quite nice. I think Petchell has to change the pace here. I think he's got to start pushing forward.
Yeah.
He's been on the back foot, for the last couple of rounds, and I think he's given Fonz Alexander a bit too much confidence to think he can just jump in and let shots off at him like he is there. If he pushes Fonz back, Fonz can't leap in to be on the back foot like that. He wants to keep Fonz there. That's where he wants to keep him.
I see Petchell expending a lot more energy than Fonz, I guess is my point.
I think so too, yeah.
While at the moment he is, I would say, controlling the fight in that he's the one with the offense and he's really just circling Fonz. It's dangerous to let a fighter like that just not expend energy while you're constantly moving, constantly punching, not landing. And then later in the fight, he can take advantage of you being winded and him being more fresh.
Yeah.
That's a nice body shot from Petchell. That's the kind of thing that can slow those feet down to a standstill and let you get off. doesn't move his head very much. I must say, Fonz is doing a good job at kind of slipping punches just by the millimeter. He's just letting shots while he was. that's not a great example of what I'm talking about. However, for a moment there, he was just getting out of the way of punches with just enough movement to not get hit. However, he wasn't coming back with counter punches, which is what wins rounds. It's like Tommy Petchell settling down a little bit, finding the fight. That's good. Good movement, nice punctuation shot at the end of the round from Petchell. I don't think he needs to be moving quite as much because Fonz isn't walking him down. Fonz is happy to just stand and pivot, so move around him like a punching bag.
Minimize the movement, save the legs, and just see if we can push Fonz back.
That's right. Fourth round in this 6th round bout. Now we've got a real mix-up here.
Good body shots there from Fonz. Mitchell needs to fire back here. Petchell, sorry, needs to fire back here.
I mean, I think this is a mini example of what I thought might be the case coming from Fonz in the last round. I wouldn't say he took the round off, but I think he was reserving his gas tank so that he could put the pressure on and hopefully overwhelm Petchell, which is not overwhelmed. It's not being overwhelmed. However, he, I think, is using Fonz's his reserve tank sparingly. He saw success by kind of outworking Petchell in the first round, and now I think he's looking for spots to do that down the stretch of this fight.
Yeah, and he's finding those spots, if I'm being honest. Petchell just, like I said, Petchell's done the same thing for, the past few rounds, I think. Just to change it, sit on Fonz a little bit, unless maybe Fonz is, physically the stronger man on the inside and Petchell doesn't want to be there, then I can understand it. But I think him being here, this range here, like you said, Alexander's not in a hurry to walk him down and push him back. He will leap in from time to time. And that's what Petchell's got to be careful of, just like he's done there.
Right.
Petchell needs to hold that center and just work off that jab. And anytime, but anytime Alexander comes in, he just needs to pop at him. I don't think he needs to back up too much. He's showing way too much respect to Alexander. I'm not the one taking the punches, but I don't know. I don't think Alexander hits that hard to keep you on the back foot, especially if he's not walking you down.
Yeah, to your point, I don't think that Fonz is hitting all that hard, but they are short, quick shots. And he's loading up with the third punch of the combination. If you'll notice, he is punching in combinations and he's saving the big punch for the last, which means he's setting that shot up, and they got to respect that.
Yeah. I can understand that. Even in leaping shots, when you've done it enough for you to realise, to kind of find a pattern and counter. Take that little step back and miss with the right hand right off. Yeah, something big. Just, just take a little half a step back and this is right with that hook. He's off balance, he's got a ranged right hand, you would turn right back into it.
With Fonz having made that many identical attempts at those leaping shots.
Right there, if he just step back and counter that right hand will find home. I'm not sure he's thought about tackling the shots, just thought about getting away with it, not getting caught.
Right. And to be fair, a leaping shot when your opponent is off his feet or leaping in, it's not much, there can't be much on that punch. It's,
exactly.
you know, by physics. So another thing, like you say, you can dodge it, go under it, or you could just cover up, catch it, and counter immediately. Really, with a nice clean punch.
I think he did even counter back with a check hook.
Yeah. I've seen guys get knocked out that way. That's what you tell them in the corner. That's the best advice.
You look at Floyd Russell out and he checked him right into the turnbuckle.
Bing.
When he came with that leap and that hook, he caught it through him.
Just so it said, it was the Brit who mentioned that fight. It wasn't me who mentioned that.
I'm just showing an example.
Oh no, I remember. I think this is an important round, especially for Petchell, because the fight's just closer than it should be. He needs right now to let Fonz know that he is the superior fighter and he intends to win this fight down the stretch. It shouldn't be a battle for the next 6 minutes.
You're right.
He's parried the leaping hook. He didn't come back with offense, but to me, I think he's trying. He's in his mind doing it. He's like, okay, it's the timing. He's not there with the timing yet. But he finally sees that leaping punch coming.
He's getting backed up too much in the corner for me.
Yeah, he definitely needs to get out of that corner. That's crazy. There you go.
That was a good check. But off the jab now, work off the jab. That's what you need to do. Pull the uppercut there by
It's an overhand right there for Petchell too, if he'll have it. He got caught to the body by, got beat to the punch, literally.
He's just put out of the way. Like a right hand would have just. The right hand would have been sweet off of that work.
I seen it. I mean, yeah, it hurts to not see that punch land because it's so right there. Again, and to your point, I mean, Fonz is doing it the same way every time. Nice up there. Keep working. Petchell needs to keep working.
Shots there did sound heavy.
And those are shots to the body, so I think that Fonz Alexander is trying to win this fight on engine.
Yeah. Combination there, probably legit. So, I don't know what happened there, but
going into the 6th round, how do you have this one?
I think it's close.
It's close.
And I think Petchell needs to win this round to separate himself. He doesn't want to leave here with any doubts and any regrets. Win this round down, and if it doesn't go your way, at least you know you tried. But to let this round go and lose or draw, he would think, if I won that last round, that could have happened. So he doesn't want to leave it to the zone. Just win this round down.
Seconds out, 6, final round.
sixth and final round here. York Hall, rise and fall. Nielsen Boxing and TM14 bringing you the action. This is a good scrap, and I think this round will be the best of the six. They both know that it could go either way. I think they both realize that this fight is closer than the odds makers might have predicted. It's almost criminal that Fonz is getting away with that leaping hook so frequently, even when it doesn't land. I mean, especially in fact when it doesn't land.
You've got to be made to pay for it.
Exactly. I suspect when Tommy is back in camp, they're going to be drilling the counter to that leaping hook.
100%. That's a good hook there. Good check hook. Lovely check hook there from Petchell.
And that's what should be waiting on Alexander every time he leaps in, either with a punch or with his chin. Check hook, bing, bing. I'm hearing people telling Tommy to not stand there, and at this point, I don't think he should be moving his feet so much. He's just slipping punches coming in and countering. But
yeah, I mean, if he's going to stand there, he's got to fight. He's got to work off the jab. He's got to keep a certain shape. Yeah. When he's standing there and leaning over, he's allowing Fonz to throw wild shots like that.
If he starts getting on his bicycle now, he will have lost the round. He lost the first half of the round, so he doesn't have the option to box the second half of the round.
I got you. 100%. But he needs to work there. Work at the jab.
Right
work
there.
at something.
That's right. Exactly.
There's too much posing going on. He needs to work at something.
That is a beautiful combination. Nice little short hook that Fonz led right into. Oof.
It's mad. I don't think Fonz is trying to jab today.
I think you're right, actually.
It's just all wild shots like that.
And I'll tell you something else. Some of those shots to the body were landing on the arms, but they sounded so good.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 6 rounds of boxing, we go to the referee scorecard. Ringside referee scores the bout 58 to 56. And your winner,